Hello everyone, I'm Brian. It's September 19th, and here in Southern California, the urban peripherals of Los Angeles, Zone 10B, we have bipolar weather in the forecast. There's a lot of cloud cover right now, and it's hard to imagine that it'll be in the 90s today. Tomorrow, we're supposed to get cooler weather, and it'll drop down to the 70s with a 20% chance of rain. And then the next day, we're going to get warm weather again back in the 90s. So it'll be interesting to see how the plants respond to the fluctuations. Maybe the wasabi that's growing in the pond may not like the fluctuation too much. In any event, the weather's cooling down, and I've been sowing the cooler weather crops, and they're starting to sprout. Hopefully the heat doesn't stunt them. But today we'll be looking at chili peppers, or peppers, or just peppers in general, and they're always fun to grow. And I see a lot of people grow peppers. There's so many types. They have different characteristics and colors. So I know some of you grow it for fun, and then some grow it for eating, and then some, like me, grow it for both, just to see them in their form, and also put them in our mouths to either spice up our food or enhance it with the sweetness that certain peppers provide. So we'll be taking a look at some of the peppers that are in the garden for this year, 2016. Let's start off by looking at the peppers that are in the raised planter, and in here was a jalapeno, and I've since cleared it out, but we can look at some of the old footage of it. Next to it is a togarashi, which is Japanese for chili pepper, and this particular variety is mangjani. It's one of three that are being grown for the first time this year, and togarashi is used in a Japanese condiment called yuzu koshu, and I was hoping to make some this year with the yuzu fruit, but my yuzu citrus tree didn't produce anything this year. So what I'm going to do next is allow them to dry and grind them up into a pepper powder, and that's also another way the togarashi peppers are used. So this is the mangjani, and we'll look at the other two varieties in a little bit. Diagonal from our togarashi peppers is the growing area for a couple of poblano peppers. And in California, peppers are perennial plants because we don't get frost. This is a poblano pepper that is a couple years old, and here are some that are that have ripened, and I'm gonna let them dry on the plant here and grind it up and use it to season things. And poblano peppers in their pepper form are called poblano peppers, and in their dry form and powder form they're called ancho chili. And there's a spider that's made a home in it, and we'll leave him because he protects the pepper plant. The peppers are not very big, and that's because they're grown in mostly clay soil, and I hope to be able to amend it. Looking at the soil here, we have some green brown dots, look like caterpillar manure. So the caterpillar will help us improve our soil a little bit at a time. This pepper is also the pepper that they use in chili relleno, which is a really tasty Mexican or Central American dish. It's often in commercial form they use the Anaheim pepper, but for a more authentic feel, use the poblano pepper. Also, if you notice that there's water spots, that's not how the pepper normally is. This is because my water's pretty hard here, and we get a lot of water spots if I just spray without care. Okay, let's go take a look at some other types of Japanese pepper. And this is a shishito pepper, a very popular pepper in the last 5 years, and a very enjoyable one. This is already getting to the stage of ripeness. Otherwise, it's a very nice neon green color. And here it is as it ripens. So each year the weather favors certain types of plants, and the peppers have had it rough this year. I think it's been a lot cooler and also a lot of cloud cover, so they haven't produced enough for us. One year I had so many that my brother was able to make a nice satay out of them. So we discovered that this is also good for making satay, which is an Asian condiment. All right, let's go look at the other chili pepper, which is also the same guy. Some more shishito peppers, and this is the pepper plants that the shishito pepper plants that we saw were grown from seed this year, and this is how they normally are, this color, when you get them at the restaurant or the supermarket. They're great grilled, and once in a while you'll find one that's super spicy, but these are generally sweet. And here's another one and another one. So they're producing this time of year. There's also one back here that's kind of small. So normally with 4 or 5 plants I would get a lot of peppers, but this year we've got a little bit of a hiatus as far as production. We'll see in the front yard that there's another 1 or 2 of these pepper plants. And here we are in the permaculture resort garden, and one of the themes here is to see how plants will grow using a permaculture practice, which means amending our soil in a natural way. And by that, we're not purchasing soil amendment from the garden center or any kind of fertilizers, but rather just use material, leaves, organic matter from around the yard to see if we can improve the soil. And this is a pretty new planting bed, and the Himo togarashi peppers seem to be doing well. So they are a very productive pepper, even in literally or almost dirt here. So this is just native clay, water, and it seems to be doing well. It's a very interesting and organic looking pepper. It's very slender, and it just travels as it feels in its growth. So it's curvy, a little bit bumpy. We have some that are dry and we can save the seeds, and this would probably be a fun pepper to make yuzu koshu from. Here's the other plant, and we have quite a few of these peppers. They're pretty long too. Okay, we'll go to the front yard where we'll look at the other and third and final togarashi pepper, the fushimi. So out here in the front yard garden, we have a couple of fushimi togarashi, and the fushimi looks like a son or daughter of a manjani and himo togarashi. It's got this nice plumpness of a manjani, but then the organic curvature of a himo. And out here in the front yard, it's a sun-loving area, and the pepper, with its lack of foliage, seems to suggest that it doesn't like full sun. So there's another pepper that doesn't like full sun, and we'll look at it in a second. But before we do, we're going to look at a couple of ornamental peppers that are being grown by the front door down that way. So down this way by the front door are some ornamental peppers. This one down here is a Chinese 5-color pepper, and I've seen this marketed as other names as well. The pepper, I use it for mostly ornamental purposes, but you can also eat this. I believe it's spicy. So the 5 colors, when it starts out as this cream color, then it turns purple. That's 2. After purple, it becomes orange. That's 3. After orange, it becomes red. That's 4. I think I skipped the yellow state. So at some point between, I think it's yellow. What I'm missing a color. I'm not entirely sure what that is right now. I'm having trouble remembering. But there are 2 plants here. And the soil here is mostly clay. They may be getting too much sun, or they may need some, perhaps, Epsom salt. Here is the newest addition here. This is a black pearl pepper. It's got really dark, almost black color leaves, and the peppers are going to be black, and they're about pea size, so a little bit bigger and round. So looking forward to seeing those peppers. So we're going to head towards the last pepper, and in doing so we'll be passing by another shishito pepper that's down here. And these ones, when they get red like this, are really good, once again, for making satay out of. Okay, so the last pepper that we'll be looking at is one that I received from a lady when I was working at the time, and I took the train, and I took the later train, which is the more casual train, and I was talking to a lady, a Filipino lady, who had come up to visit her Vietnamese friend, and she had mentioned that she got some peppers from her, and she showed them to me. She wondered if I've ever seen them before, and I haven't, and I told her that they are really cool looking peppers, and she offered some for me, and I said, oh cool, I look forward to growing them. And here they are. These are Siling Labayo pepper. This is how big they get. Well, they get a little bit bigger, but they don't get any longer than this, and they've been growing here for a couple years now. I gave a plant to my mom, and hers grows to about 5 feet. So I discovered that peppers, certain types, or many, or all, they don't like full sun. So out in the front yard is a sun-loving area. So to see that these guys are not as tall as my mom's plant, and not as happy, because their leaves are a little bit wilted, meaning that they're saying, hey, too much sun, I need to curl up because I'm getting too much. Hers is 5 feet tall and super happy. I don't have a picture for you, but so these took 2 years to produce peppers, just like at my mom's. And next to it is another shishito pepper down there, hidden behind the tartan dahlia. Let's move the tartan dahlia out of the way so we can see him, or he has to slouch over now. So with a little bit of shade, he seems to be more happy. So those are the peppers that are growing in the year 2016. Next year I hope to grow some Anaheim peppers. Anaheim peppers are great for grilling. They add a whole bunch of nice texture and sweetness to burgers, so I hope to get those guys growing for next year. So until next time, thanks for coming out on the pepper tour with me, and I'll catch you later. And here are the fall crops for this year. Some of them are getting bigger, some of them are starting to sprout. We have some red express cabbage that are poking out in here. These are cauliflower, and we can start thinning some of them out. Bok choy, chard, some Chinese kale, some more Chinese kale here. Some of the Tokyo white onions are starting to sprout. So I'm trying to manage and not plant too many, sow too many seeds in one day, because then I'm overwhelmed with a lot of plants that need to be transplanted, and sometimes it's hard to get around to them and they just end up not getting transplanted and they stay in their pots, which is a little bit wasteful. Here are some red vein sorrel. I'm growing it because it really looks dramatic, a really nice ornamental plant.